Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and another video on Marvel Contest of Champions. This one is focusing on the champion of Nebula. Now the astute among you might notice that Rich, you did one back in October 2018, and that is indeed correct. But there's been a new synergy, or a rework synergy, or improved synergy that really makes her more of a questing based champion and more of an interest for a lot of players, not just myself, but people that have her at 6-star, maybe awakened and highly ranked up at 5-star as well. Sibling rivalry with Gamora adds some extra padding to this first in the fight type stuff with synergies. So Proxima Midnight, as we're going to talk about in a minute, gets that synergy with Nebula. When Nebula starts off, she starts off with 10 electro charges. Not to mention the fact that that can be built up to 20 very quickly, smacked in with an L2. Well, if the L2 does a good amount of damage, then expect a load of crits. And some of the footage that I'm going to be playing in a moment showcases when I'm taking Nebula into a questing format, funnily enough, against Gamora. You'll see not only a great amount of intercepting that I am most proud of. Don't expect some intense or amazing gameplay from myself. Well, I do play all right from time to time. Sometimes I don't play too well, but sometimes when I want to really be a sweaty tryhard, yeah, I do all right. But the fact is, if we stay on topic, I love the way that we get 100% crit chance for either the SP1 or SP2. And as I said, I like to put in the SP2 for this. If we could have a way that that special attack does a horrendously large amount of damage, then let's just face it, then Nebula is going to be a very much powerful champion for the purpose of questing. This is one of the reasons that I decided to experiment with a few teams, and in particular, this team here seems to be the most interesting based on the fact that they gain most of the synergy advantages. And actually, to me, looks an alright team. You can switch out a lot of different champions for different things. For example, the problem that I think I've got with this, if I was going into a questing format, yes, number one, the immunities are there. Lots of champions with decent poison immunity, decent double immunity, also decent damage output. But the fact is, would I necessarily go in for this team when I was going for any kind of more intense questing? Maybe not. Based on the fact that Uncollected and certain aspects of Act 6.1, and obviously in a later date when we get other stuff, is probably going to be laden with some various nodes and buffs that maybe wouldn't benefit you just picking the one team all the time. It probably would be good to mix up these things and have things that aren't cosmic and aren't tech, maybe some science, mutant, etc. So I wouldn't say it's the best team and most advisable team for that. But definitely when it comes to things like clearing master, doing a good chunk of uncollected, and at the same time some aspects of 6.1, this team can be very helpful, but mainly around the build for Nebula, damage outputting a huge amount in a very short space of time. As I said to begin with, sibling rivalry is the core reason for this synergy group being put together. A merciful punishment is in there as well in order to get those 10 electroshock charges right at the beginning of the fight, which goes hand in hand with that need to get up to the SP2 pretty quickly to get that crit chance. Yes, you could use the SP1, but I like the fact of doing a large amount of damage with the SP2. Not a huge amount, but still a good enough amount that's improved from before. And the rest are really there for moral support. Infinity enemies, that is one reason to put that in. And yeah, this could be a good team to build around Proxima as well as Corvus for the point of utilization for different types of content. Corvus is a complete powerhouse and his utility is vast, really vast. But for this, you could pick and choose who you want to take in. You could swap out and say, right, well, I want cybernetic upgrades. I'm going to have that to improve my Gamora. Oh, next time I'll switch it out and decide to take a different champion into there, like Angela, so Angela gets swapped out and put into there. It's up to you. But the fact is, this is a very strong questing team to diversify, especially going, right, well, I need something that's class advantage against a cosmic. I'll take in something that is mystic and switch it about. That's really the main thing, is when you're going into these fights, switch around, pick and choose champions. It's a pick and mix of powerhouses. What's so important about Nebula that we really have to consider her a little bit more when thinking about questing teams? And I think it does go back to this Gamora synergy. I absolutely love putting together this team and at the same time adding Gamora into it. As there's been improvements, if you said before, yeah, I want to use Gamora in a fighting stance, like using questing a lot more, just get able to damage output, let's face it, we wouldn't be having this conversation a few months ago. Now that we've added this character into this potentially viable questing team, it does open up possibilities for things like Act 6.1 and further content. Nebula is a champion as well that's used predominantly for different and various things based on the double immunities, and there's some people that do shout out a lot. For example, Brian Grant uses the champion quite a bit. At some point I was thinking to myself, does Nebula need a rework or a buff of some kind? And probably the answer is no, especially considering we're talking about this questing format. We're talking about Gamora being a good side champion, side chick if you will. The fact that she can be utilized in any kind of team, especially looking at like the Proxima, Corvus, Gamora and herself, that's 4 really strong champions. Unfortunately, it's very specific on cosmic champions, which I don't always like. I like champions that are able to have different types of classes based on class disadvantage, and also maybe some nodes will not allow for you to bring in one specific class. But there again, we could be seeing some amazing stuff with Fantastic Fours being all science champions in the future. So, hey, I could be completely wrong with that. I'm also excited to see other champions work in with Nebula. Will it be a case that Nebula will interact with champions that are going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy in some sort of reworking? Maybe she's going to get killed off in the Avengers Endgame. I don't know. Also, we could see Rescue, and Rescue working as a... well, rescuing Nebula and Tony Stark. So therefore, that could be something that we could see them as some sort of synergy in the future. Either way, it's very exciting and leaves a door open to future ideas of working with different champions and also improving questing groups, which is something I'd love to see. Unfortunately, we're not seeing huge damage output from doing the special attacks, and obviously that's the reason that I was trying to showcase that sibling rivalry. But it's still quite good to consider that we could do 6,832 based off of this being rank 3 5-star. So, you know, as it continues on, maybe it's going to get higher the more the kind of level of starage goes up, and at the same time the rank, which is still going to be cool to see the extent of damage that we could do in the future. So there we go, that has been a little video all about Nebula and that sibling rivalry synergy and working together with other teams to create some fantastic and fun questing teams. Hopefully if you've got Nebula, you're utilizing her to the best of her ability, and if you're looking for ideas of champions to use with her for other content, then look no further in what we've discussed today. I've been RichTheMan, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more Marvel Contest of Champions based content. Support the channel by hitting the join button. Come around for a live stream at 1900 hours GMT most days. I changed my time then. In any case, I shall catch you in the next one. Bye bye for now.